This is a Willets Point Shea Stadium bound 7 express train. The next and last stop is Willets Point, Shea Stadium.
Yoshinobu Yamamoto is the big get that everyone's going after, including the Mets. 2023, he was 17-6 with a 1.16 ERA and 171 innings pitched. He had 176 strikeouts for his career, 75-30 with a 1.72 ERA. He was recently posted top Mets pitching target, but like I said, everyone is going to be in on Yamamoto. Wardy, we know the Mets need pitching. They're down 3 starters. So how imperative is it for them to land Yamamoto? And also on top of that, 2-part question, is it Yamamoto or bust this offseason?
So glad you asked. It's been asked a lot to me of recent. And my answer to this is yes, but not in the manner of saying, okay, if you lose out on Yamamoto, your offseason's shot. Like, you're not going to have any success. What I mean is, for who he is, for the type of player that he is, and for what the Mets want that goes beyond the 2024 season, they're looking for some long-term ability here with who they acquire. Yamamoto is literally a unicorn. Like, he's in a class of himself when you evaluate both the free agent and trade market. And given the Mets' serious interest here, that is why I believe that unless it's factors say, hey, preference on location, maybe he does want to be out west, like Ohtani was back in 2018 when he first came to town. Or maybe he wants to go to the Yanks because he's enamored by the idea of playing in those pinstripes, because from a global scale, we know that the Yanks are the first team you probably think of. It's the Yanks and the Red Sox right away. Speaking of which, both those teams are at the tippity top of the list that will be contending here for Yamamoto, as are the Mets. But the reason why I believe it's so Yamamoto or bust is because there's just no other talent similar out there. I can't emphasize enough how talented this guy is. I know you've done your homework on Yamamoto. I've watched plenty of his film since learning more about him, witnessing, his no-no, in which Brian Cashman, unfortunately, was in attendance of this year. There's a lot of things to love about Yoshinobu Yamamoto, and given the Mets' desperate need to add to this rotation, he would just check off every single box that you're looking for. He has ridiculous life on his fastball. He has a splitter that you could argue is better than Kodai Senga's. Yeah, you heard that correctly. And just that ghost fork was literally one of the best pitches in all of baseball this past year, especially on swing and miss. Like, the whiff rate was ridiculous. So just imagine on the type of potential you have with Yamamoto, who also has a disgusting splitty, but also touches a hundo on the gun without a problem, is only 25 years of age, mind you. So yes, he's a very hot commodity. Everyone and their mother wants him. But thankfully, we have an owner who can trump many other clubs in a very heavy pursuit here. When it comes to dollars, this is where the Mets can certainly excel. Then you get into the other key factors that can benefit them. Kodai Senga, his adamancy in wanting him here, and Yamamoto's willingness to play with fellow Japanese countrymen. This is not the case with every single Japanese player that comes over from the NPB. Some of them are a little stubborn. Some of them view this hierarchy status where it's like, oh, because you're here, I can't be here. Like, I don't know exactly why they have that mindset, but some do. It's went back for a number of years now. But Yamamoto's very open. He's very willing, reportedly, to be in a big market. I think he's 1,000% going to land in a big market, given how expensive he is. And, we're hearing that he's easily going to get at least $200 million. We're talking north of 250, and that's not even talking about the posting fee. This guy is going to become one of the highest paid players in baseball history in the MLB when he has yet to pitch an inning. So I guess my question to you back is, one, what are your initial thoughts on Yamamoto? And two, do you think the upside far outweighs the risk when looking at guaranteed dollars it's going to take to land someone of his caliber?
I think the upside for him definitely far outweighs the risk. We've seen other pitchers that we've seen throughout Major League Baseball that we wouldn't take a chance on, maybe like a Sonny Gray who just signed with the Cardinals. There's like other guys like Lance Lynn, some of these guys that have already signed, the Cal Gibsons of the world, that we wouldn't necessarily,
pay
money for, although maybe in the past the Mets would have to fill out a rotational spot.
Absolutely.
But, Yamamoto is very intriguing, especially after what we saw from Senga this past season and how well he adapted. I think that's very important too, because and a lot of people, including myself, have been frustrated with the way that a Jeremy Hefner has kind of brought David Peterson and the Tyler McGills along, where they haven't really succeeded at homegrown prospects. But the way they handled Senga last season and the way they built him up to get to a point where, he's pitching every fifth day and every start you want to see from him as well. I think that should be kind of a little ticker in Yamamoto saying, you know what, if Senga can do it there, I think I can do it there as well. And I know that I will be taken care of when I'm, in New York. So he's definitely a guy that is on the top of my list. I don't know if it's Yamamoto or bust, but I know for a lot of Met fans, it would be for sure. Some are already upset that there's nothing going on at the moment right now.
With factors they can control too. That's another thing. I'm not the type of schmuck fan that says, oh, the guy who clearly wanted to be a Yankee. All right, I want nothing to do with him. No, of course he wanted him. But like for those factors, I can be upset about it. I could be, bummed. Yeah. But the last thing I'm going to do is blame the organization when their hands are tied. But if it's a situation where they just simply get outbid, that's where it's hard for me to grasp, especially as a Steve Cohen ran Mets type fan that I am.
And we know that there's more factors than money that when it comes to the Mets. Absolutely. That wouldn't happen so much with the Yankees, as hard as it is to say. But there's just something about their history, their lineage. Same thing goes with the Los Angeles Dodgers. Maybe Boston too, if Boston shelled out some money. But the Mets have this aura around them where it's still kind of hard to bring these players in. Look, their price got driven up trying to get Craig Counsell. I mean, teams
Craig
are going to use these guys
like a fiddle. He did it brilliantly. Yeah,
players are going to do the same thing. We're going to see it. It's not going to be the first time or the last time.